All my fellas, all my fellas, all my fellas.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jasiah as always, and today we're gonna do a bit of a different Jasiah's Toon reviews video. First off, welcome back to a new episode of that series. Matter of fact, this is probably how I'm going to do these videos from now on. But today's episode of Jasiah's Toon reviews are going to tackle one of the most underrated superhero shows and one of my personal favorite Batman shows of all time, Beware the Batman. In case you guys are unfamiliar with the show, it follows a young Bruce Wayne as he takes on the Batman title this early in his career. He runs into various lesser-known Batman villains that have been shown in the comics, but not that known as like a Penguin or a Two-Face or, of course, the Joker, who, oddly enough, doesn't make an appearance in the show. My theory is that if this went on for longer than a season, he definitely would have at least made a cameo. You can't have a Batman cartoon without the Joker, right? Well, anyway, let's take a look at Beware the Batman, one of Cartoon Network's most underrated Batman cartoons, and see if it still holds up. In my opinion, it definitely does. Before we get started, can we just appreciate the amazing intro that this show has? I mean, every single time I watch it, it makes me feel like this is a true Batman cartoon with the various blacks and reds. It gives a very accurate depiction of what Batman really is in the comics and his character in general. This was very prominent in Batman the Animated Series as well. If you take a look at the Gotham City in this show with the red sky and the dark undertones, it really makes you feel this dark and corrupt city. I just always thought that was a really dope touch in this intro. The episode that I want to take a look at is this episode in particular called Attraction. This episode is all about the villain Magpie and her relationship, or should I say complicated relationship, with Batman. This is a continuation episode of an episode prior, which is what this show really likes to do, to draw out their character arc. I also wanted to check this episode out in particular because it also gives you a chance to understand the character of Katana a bit more, which is Batman's Robin in this show. She still doesn't truly exactly know why Batman helps these kind of people. So the episode starts off with Katana and Batman stopping a known criminal, Luckhead, from destroying cars and hurting people. Also, throughout this episode, you'll kind of see how clumsy Katana is, and you know, when she's out in the field. I can't really blame her though, because I mean, she's used to being a part of this top secret ninja organization who trained with a katana, and no doubt she was trained to kill. So working alongside Batman and restraining yourself, it could definitely mess up your flow. But still, like, homegirl, like, defend yourself, you know what I'm saying? Get up. But this encounter leads Batman and Katana to the prison in which he was locked up in. She, of course, is happy to see Batman.
Excuse me for a moment, Warden. Magpie, how are you? Sorry I haven't been to see you recently.
I was worried something had happened to you. I've missed our talks.
Magpie is extremely obsessed with Batman and mistakes Katana for his potential lover, which of course isn't true. But this makes me really fascinated by Magpie's character. I mean, she's so obsessed with Batman, and it's also her reasoning for tricking my guy Luckhead into breaking her and himself out and to go see Batman and capture him for herself. I guess you could say you can kind of see why Magpie is batshit, no pun intended, crazy. And she ain't had to do my boy Luckhead like that. All bro wanted was some candy. When Batman and Katana get word of Magpie escaping, they get active and they try to capture her. And if I can say, the fights in this Batman show are choreographed extremely well. But here's where it gets complicated and makes Katana question Batman's motives. Instead of stopping Magpie, he stops both Katana and Magpie from fighting. This is interesting because at this point, we already knew that Katana had doubts on Batman's morals. This, of course, leads Magpie to escape Batman and Katana's clutches. When word gets out that Magpie has escaped custody and gets onto a crime spree, this causes Bruce to want to pursue Magpie on his own, locking her in her cage by himself, as he would say. Katana wasn't going for that.
No way I'm staying out of this fight. I'm the one she threatened.
Which makes you a target and a liability Batman can't afford right now.
Alfred questions Batman's motives for being intrigued by Magpie as well, saying that what happened to Magpie's real identity, which she killed in the previous episode showcasing her arc, isn't Batman's fault. However, Batman states that she didn't understand the consequences of hiding who she truly is, which is what she tried to help her with, something Alfred doesn't buy. He thinks that Batman is only helping her for his own mental sanity. Well, I guess that's a question only he can answer.
I thought I could help.
Help who? Magpie? Or yourself?
When Batman finally tracks Magpie, he tells her that he thought it wasn't right that she was locked in a prison and not somewhere where she can get help, which he alludes to her needing to go to a mental institution. But Magpie only wants to be with Batman intimately. You see, Magpie in this dialogue is brilliantly written to understand Batman in this instance. Batman has always been a conflicting character and always had the confliction of what happens if he was ever pushed too far or went rogue in this and the third. Whenever his true self gets called into question, it leaves the viewers, or readers in this case, with more questions. What happens if Batman embraces the Dark Knight fully? If he just completely killed off Bruce Wayne and became vengeance 24/7? All it takes is for that one day for someone to turn from hero to villain, and in an instant, which is something that Batman doesn't want. Batman is a very fascinating character in the grand scheme of things, because right when it looks like you have Batman right where you want him, he's always 10 steps ahead of you. Hal Jordan isn't the only one with willpower in DC.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Of course, Magpie doesn't take too kindly to Batman's unwillingness to be with her and care for her like she cares for him. Batman, of course, cares for her, but in a different way, and this leads to a fight in which Batman doesn't want to have, as he holds back tremendously in this fight. Katana to the rescue, though, and these two have an intense battle, one of which Katana is losing even with a sword in hand. The way Magpie carries herself, both in battle and as a character, reminds me a lot of the Joker. I mean, she's unpredictable in her fighting style, which makes her a difficult opponent, much like the Joker is. Katana trying to save Batman, a call that Alfred made, by the way, as he feels Bruce isn't in his right state of mind, led her to being captured by Magpie and locked in a coffin, waiting to be buried alive. Batman, being the world's greatest detective, deciphered exactly where Katana was being held. When Magpie, or as she was formerly called Margaret Sorrow, was in custody at Blackgate Prison, doctors wiped her mind clean to give her early release. But when they did, they awoken Magpie within Margaret Sorrow. Gotham records showed Margaret's date of death and date of birth. So when the doctors gave Margaret a new identity, they killed her old identity, and to make it look real, they quote-unquote buried her in an empty grave at Gotham Cemetery, to which Katana is in a coffin getting buried alive in.
They gave Magpie her new identity. They killed off her old one. And to make it legitimate, they buried her in Gotham Cemetery, in an empty grave. Magpie's buried Katana alive in Margaret Sorrow's grave.
Batman thought he saw the mystery, but he was ultimately fooled by Magpie and Margaret Sorrow's grave, which actually still was empty, with Katana being buried somewhere else. Magpie doesn't understand why Batman cares more about Katana than he does her, to which Batman explains that by visiting her in Blackgate frequently, he thought that that would give her the shred of humanity she still had within her.
Never understood me. If you did, you'd know I'd never allow someone I care about to come to harm. I thought that by coming to see you in Blackgate, I could give you back a little of the humanity you lost. I was wrong.
Again, this is something that Magpie didn't want to hear, and the two engage in a battle, to which again Batman holds back in. However, in the heat of battle, Magpie strikes Batman with one of her toxic nails. That causes Batman to go unconscious and get put in the grave. You see, this is where it gets good, because as Katana escapes, the two engage in one final battle, where Katana gets the upper hand while talking her shit in the process.
When you find a grave you like, let me know.
When Magpie gets the upper hand on Katana, however, that's when Batman escapes just in time, and the two face Magpie, causing her demise and capture. As Magpie is defeated, all seems to be well afterwards. That is until Katana notices that what Magpie said in her actions, in doing so, affected Bruce, and Alfred explains that the duality of the cowl and his true identity is something that Bruce struggles with, and he saw that in Magpie. You see, this episode is really good, and one that I recommend to anyone who is a diehard Batman fan, or to just check out in general, because it really raises some interesting conversations about exactly who Batman is as a character, and this whole show explores that a lot. This is why I say that Beware the Batman is one of Cartoon Network's most slept on shows, and it's one of the most underrated Batman cartoons in history. If you made it this far in the video, you are a real one. This was something that I always wanted to do on this channel, and I really like to do a deep dive into all of these, you know, various cartoons and various anime as well, if we could get into that, if y'all want me to do that as well. But again, if you made it this far in the video, you a real one. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this, and comment down below what other shows y'all want me to do next. We could, you know, I had a lot of them that I wanted to do, that I had written down, but if y'all got some suggestions, please let me know. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Follow me on all my socials down below, including that good old clock app, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Y'all stay safe, stay easy, and I'll holla at y'all.